Hi, Sonia. Welcome to the show. And everyone, meet Sonia. Sonia and I met. Well, I'll tell. So at that time, I was going for my walk in the Phoenix Park, and I saw this lovely lady on her skates, and she was doing some rehearsals in the car park, and she literally seeked my attention at that time. I stood there for 10 to 15 minutes, and I saw and enjoyed the way she was practicing her skating, and I really loved it. And that's when we connected on Instagram, and then I found out more about her, about all her amazing hobbies and passions. And and that Sonia is a software developer. She is a photographer and a model, and there's so much about Sonia. Sonia, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi guys, I'm Sonia. Happen to be transgender woman. Yes, as Singh has mentioned, I do have hobbies. One of my big hobbies is figure skating. I go to Belfast to train figure skating, but I also have another hobby, which is now flying planes. I love learning flying
Flying
planes.
planes.
Yes, I
Oh,
just started it recently,
yeah.
and I just love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and how is it going? How long you've been taking this
Um,
training?
I had like
Yeah.
6 lessons so far.
Wow.
Yeah.
And where would you like to go with that? With the flying planes? Would you
Uh,
like to become a professional or
oh,
it's a leisure?
well, my dream, and it will probably
Yeah.
remain my dream, was
Mhm.
to be a jet fighter pilot. But
Yeah.
of course, it's just good fun to have
Yeah.
Cessna and just go
Wow.
into the sky and
Right.
enjoy,
Yeah.
the,
Yeah.
the flight.
And that's amazing, Sonia. So you have so many hobbies, and you're very productive. You keep yourself busy and always exploring new
Yeah.
opportunities to progress. So let's start with your childhood.
Okay.
Probably, would you like to share how was your childhood coming from Poland, right? Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
I was born in Poland,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a city in the western border with Germany. The
Okay.
city called Stettin. The
Jetin.
city that
Yeah.
currently claims itself to be the most inclusive in Poland.
Okay.
Um, yes, I remember. I still have this memory when my mom was hanging the laundry behind the house, and me and my brother were running around on the grass around this laundry and having fun. That's my childhood memory. And then, then I was getting slightly older, not that old, like around 11-year old, and things started changing for me. There was more school, but then of course, because I'm transgender, so what that means is I don't know how to say that.
Yeah, I think that's where we want this conversation to go, because me currently I will learn from you, and I'm currently learning about and getting my, we always have some subconscious beliefs given by the society and the community we come from, the countries we come from. We might not know that we might not have clarity about different subjects within our
Yeah,
community. One is this subject on transgender and LGBT subject. So I would really like you to enlighten everyone who is in my own bucket, people who don't know um, uh, completely about the subject and about this whole spectrum. So we would like to know from your own journey so far, from being a childhood till now, and help us clarify the concepts, help us clarify this subject.
so
Okay.
when I was 11 years old,
Yeah.
yeah, I I was attending school,
Yeah.
and I saw, children in my age,
Mhm.
the girls in my age started getting more feminine shapes,
Yeah.
started having breasts and long hair. And, when I looked at my body at home, something inside me was having this,
Mm.
the lack of peace, inside
Okay.
me. I couldn't understand why is my body not developing in the same way. Why am I not developing breasts? Why am I not developing hair? I was smart enough and intelligent to understand why is that happening, because obviously, I was given physical body of a man, and
Mm.
that could not happen. And there was this,
Mm.
you know, conflict inside myself, inside me, that, you know, I am practically trapped in this body because I cannot change it. It's something I got when I was born, and they got their bodies, and they got the bodies the way they wanted. Well, they didn't ask for it, but they are girls and they got women body, and I'm a girl and I got man's body, and I just didn't feel that's fair, and I cried very often, and I really wanted to have this woman's body, and I didn't know what to do with this.
And what age were you? You were in your early teens?
No, I was 11 years old.
11 years.
Yeah, I was 11 years old, and I saw those my friends at school. They started developing into women, whereas I wasn't, and I looked at myself, I touched myself, and I was like, it's not there.
Yeah.
It's not there, and there is something that I don't want somewhere else, and I just didn't know what to do about it. And see Hollywood stars getting plastic surgeries on television, and I was thinking, well, maybe that's the way. Maybe maybe I can fix that body by having some sort of surgery, plastic surgery, and maybe there is something that I could do when I grow up. And I was having this hope that maybe when I get older, when I grow up, maybe I'll be able to do something. But it felt like disappointed. I just felt so disappointed with the fact that my body is just not going to. And I was smart enough as an 11-year-old to understand that. But then I couldn't understand that. I couldn't understand why can I not have my breasts.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I didn't understand back then that I'm transgender. I didn't know anything about that.
Okay.
I didn't know that such people like me exist.
Okay.
Right now, we are trying to get education into the schools so that children get aware at least of that. If I was told at school that there is also a possibility that someone is transgender, then I would think, okay, I guess that's me. But and maybe it would help me because I really don't know what was happening to me.
And may I also ask you, so when you started realizing it at the age of 11, did you had a chance to talk to your parents or ever had that conversation?
No, I knew that, as I said, I'm a very smart person. I was always very smart and intelligent, and I knew that this is somehow prohibited topic that, I don't want to talk about it. I knew my father would consider me crazy. And he does right now, because when I visited Poland a few times, he just calls me like I'm mentally ill. This is how he sees me. So, I didn't want him to treat me this way. And if I were to mention this to my parents when I was 11, I don't really know what they would do to me. And I don't know where I would end. It's like my father now is 72 years old and I'm 44, and he considers me mentally ill. So if I was, and it doesn't matter what I try to explain to him, he just doesn't get it. And when I was 11-year-old, I was vulnerable. I was a child, and what would happen to me now? I have all the education, and because I had the roof over my head, I could avail of education. But if my father started, if I told them, what would happen? What would they do? Would they, I have heard from my father several times that if I don't behave well, he will give me to the orphanage. This is the threat he was giving to me. And he would just throw me out of the house. This is what he was saying, and he will give me to orphanage. This was his threat. So if I was to tell them something like this, I was a small child. I didn't know even my rights. I don't even know if I had rights, because I was born in communism. Poland was in communism, and I don't think there was any rights in communism.
And when did you decide to move to Ireland? What age were you? And do you say that? Do you see this as a general thing in this community, that people, when they realize that, all right, they are in a different body than who they are inside, they don't get support from their parents, or they end up into difficult situations? Have you seen it and heard it from?
Well,
Mhm.
I think that's the
Yeah.
case very often.
Okay.
I think that's also the case that people don't come out, don't tell,
Right.
and
Right.
then their parents don't have even chance to do anything about it because the children just don't tell them. And we don't know what would happen if, like, I don't know what would my parents do.
Yeah.
I know that my mom really loved me, so
Yeah.
I don't know what would happen. I really
Right.
don't know.
Mhm.
But I'm sure what you described is happening. There is situations where children, transgender children, don't get support from the parents. Some may be risking being, abandoned in some way,
Okay.
thrown on the street.
Hmm.
It's
Then,
kind of, I don't understand that, because I think parents have the responsibility for the children. So I don't know how this actually could work, that the parents would kick someone out, some child. It's very, I think this is, I don't think this is legal.
yeah.
But I don't know. I really don't know. But I do think that some parents are very supportive. There is parents that are very supportive. And I tell you a story that happened to me a few times.
Yeah.
I was on some walk, or whether in the park or in the city,
Yeah.
and she looked at me and she said to her father that is that a boy? And the father corrected her, no, this is a girl. What are you saying? And she says to him, but dad, no, this is a girl, he repeats.
Yeah.
And she looks at me, she looks at the father,
All right.
and the father says, what's wrong?
Yeah.
She's a nice girl.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And then they walked away. And I think this was very nice that, this particular, father was kind of
Very
trying
aware
to
and
make it more normal.
yeah.
Because, we talk a lot about trans issues, like trans, like someone like othering us as different, like trans and not trans.
Right.
But the thing is, the whole purpose of transition, of being, like person like me, I was born with the body that it was not me.
Yeah.
I was born with the body that it was not my body. Well, it was mine because I got it, but it wasn't. It was male body,
Yeah.
and I was not a male. I'm a girl.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be treated as man. I don't want to be treated as other. I never asked for it. All my life, I was just a woman like you, and I ideally I just want to be a woman like you. I don't want other people to look at me and say anything else. I want people to look at me and say same things they would say to you.
Right.
And look at me the same way they look at you. And I don't want to be different. I don't want to be othered. I don't want to be transgender. I just want to be a woman.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And Sonia, so we were talking a while ago, and you were mentioning about different spectrums. So would you also highlight, kind of give us more kind of wisdom on, male, female, trans, and that spectrum? That's just a spectrum. That's just a, yeah. How to know to get more clarity on.
That's a difficult topic, because I think understanding that someone was born with a male physical body can feel they're a woman. Some people may think it's some kind of biological mess up.
Yeah.
And maybe they get it this way as a
I feel that
scientific
I feel it about myself.
explanation, but it doesn't work that way.
Right.
And
Yeah.
Being transgender does not necessarily have to be anything to do with biology. So I think this is just, again, trying to put things into into buckets, into drawers, to put labels on things.
Yeah.
I tell you something.
Yeah.
I was in one of the clothing shop in Ireland, one of the high street shops. I was buying something, I was paying for it, and behind the counter there was this big ad on the wall, and they said that, labels are for clothing. Labels are not for humans, you know.
Right.
I looked at it and I thought, exactly, this is it. This is it. Like, you look at someone and say man or woman, and at the end of the day, you're just putting a label on someone because, someone got a body when they were born, and you put labels like man and woman, but you also put labels like, is that person white, or is that person black or Asian? You put those labels on people. You put labels like various other labels. So there's a lot of, this is discrimination, right? Discrimination means,
and that's what we were fighting for. Like when we talk about diversity, all different types of diversity.
So discrimination means that you put labels. Putting labels is discrimination, because discrimination is a process of dividing something into categories. So technically, in technology, discrimination means you have a sample and you just divide it into classes. Discriminator is a function that will divide. So we are discriminating by putting labels. That's the process we are applying. So discriminating is, we say, bad, but it's not necessarily the discrimination that's bad, but the effects of it. The effects that we change the treatment when it comes to people, just because we discriminated someone and put them into this bucket and not this bucket, it's, we treat them differently. And this different treatment is the problem, not the discrimination. Because we want to be different. I want to be like, I want to embrace I want to embrace that I'm transgender, because, at the end of the day, I was born that way. And okay, let's discriminate us. Let's say, okay, I am transgender. I'm in the class and book at transgender, and you might be from like different parts of the world than I am, and let's make it do this. But why are we putting those labels? What is the purpose of these labels? Are we using those labels just to embrace our diversity? Because, to embrace diversity, you also have to discriminate. You have to say, this person is somehow different than this person, because that's the way we are diverse.
Absolutely. And we embrace it. That's what you say. Like,
so are we doing it to beauty, embrace that unique our diversity? Are we doing it to disadvantage someone? Are we disadvantaging people? Are we preventing people from accessing things? Are we treating people as less or better because of that? That's why equity also comes in play. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Giving everyone equal rights, embracing every type of diversity, every authenticity, and that every human being is so unique, and that's where when we come together, it makes such a big difference, and life is more beautiful, more colorful, and world is full of variety, and a lot of beauty. So in terms of to answer your question, spectrum, gender is a spectrum. That's an interesting statement. It's a
very beautiful statement. I love this statement. Gender is a spectrum. I didn't hear it before.
When you think of spectrum, imagine a rainbow of colors. And you think of rainbow and you think of LGBT, right?
Oh, right. Yes.
Well, why gender is a spectrum? Gender is a spectrum from, I think, biological perspective too, because in biology, your sex, which is your biological gender, is the way your chromosomes are, your genes are, and so on. And I'm not a scientist expert of this matter, but I know that there can be many, many different variations, combinations that biology produces, and people can be intersexed in so many ways. So, and we know that men and women are not necessarily 100% also, biologically men and women. There is a mix of chromosomes everywhere.
So, I am the same. I felt the same. Growing up as an only child, I was very independent, and I was more brought up as the boy of the family. So my activities were very manly, or boy child of the family. And I never was a girl who had makeup on, I was always like a tomboy. And growing up, I felt that I am more a masculine side. I have more
Yeah.
masculine side of mine because being an only one, I knew that I have so many responsibilities. I have to be, I have to be like more masculine
And I know we
to
don't know what is
survive, to handle
the
my,
reason behind it, because
yeah,
we can say maybe there's like social cultural
yeah,
reasons for it. Maybe
mm-hmm,
there is just some preference in it,
right,
or maybe there is some biological reason behind those
yeah,
things. I have no idea. I'm
yeah,
not a scientist,
mm-hmm,
but I can tell you that
mm-hmm,
it is known that biological
mm-hmm.
sex is not binary. Is not. It's simply not. Biology says it is not.
It's not
It's
okay.
proven that it's not.
And Sonia, how do you see the community in Ireland? Is it growing? And share some light on the community in Ireland, and what would you like to change to how is it now, and how do you see it in the next few years? What's changing in the last many years? Have things changed? Have become more comfortable when it comes to expressing yourself, or people to express themselves in the community? How is it, or what would you like to get to change in this space for
A few years
lives?
ago,
Mm-hmm.
when I was
Mm-hmm.
planning to come out,
Mm-hmm.
I was unsure what will happen. It's like, you see, for every trans person
Mm.
coming out is a drastic step, because
Okay.
you know,
Mm.
like, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but if you're gay or
Mm.
lesbian, maybe coming out is not so visible to everyone around you. When I meet now trans community people in trans community, our meetings used to be much smaller groups um, years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and much, like, it wasn't very regular that we had bigger groups.
Mm.
And now I can see in this group, when we meet, it's a bigger group,
Right.
it's a younger group,
Yeah.
it's group of younger adolescents than before,
Yeah.
and they are really are just very angry that they just want to live life. They
Mm.
want to have this life. They want to be, trans women want to be women, trans boys want to be boys. They just want to fight. They're ready to fight. You can
Okay.
see completely different attitude.
Mm.
They they're not willing to be in the closet anymore. They're not
Yeah.
willing to be, looking at life passing by between your fingers.
Yeah.
I'm a girl.
Yeah.
I want to be girl. I want to live
Mm.
life as a girl.
Yeah.
They are aware of this. They had a lot of, education on media. We have a lot of influence of internet now. The younger generation, since 2000, the YouTube has, uh, grown, and that was in popularity, and there was more and more content to learn about trans people. There was lots of especially trans girls, promoting uh, being stars on YouTube, and educating maybe. So younger people get more information out of that. So even if there's no education in school, because church and stuff,
Mm.
um, people get educated on YouTube or somewhere else on internet, and people are aware, people know,
Mm.
and people see, look, she's trans and she's transitioning. I want to be like her. I'm trans too, and so on. So there is more and more people, and there's more this
Mm.
determination
Yeah.
to go and to come out and say, like, the young
Mm.
people, they don't want to sit in a closet. They definitely want to say, right now, you know, I think young people are just rebelling against the system. They say, we don't care. I am a woman, I'm coming out.
Yeah.
I'm a man, I'm coming out.
Yeah.
That's it.
Fighting
And
for.
there is a lot of, I think, also, I heard there's a lot of bullying in the schools, but I think there's also, because of this education from internet, there's also a lot of understanding in
Okay.
schools, and they also have some friends at school who do understand,
Right.
and maybe they get support there. I don't
Mm.
know how this works,
And
but
yeah.
there's more younger people coming out, and
Right.
that's very good. And
Interesting.
what I can say
Yeah.
is,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a very good idea to just come out and
Yeah.
show to the world that we exist, and
Yeah.
no matter what,
Mm-hmm.
we need to show to the world we will come out
Okay.
no matter what.
Right.
Well, you'll
Right.
not just stop us. You
Right.
cannot. You cannot just say, you're transgender, fine, just don't tell us, don't show
Yeah.
us, stay in the closet. We don't agree with that, and
Yeah.
you can see that from younger generation now that they do not agree to be in the closet. They
No.
just want to come out, and whatever has to happen will happen.
Yeah. And Sonia, so I would like to ask you that, have you ever been asked questions from other people that about how it's like expressing yourself in the society, or about something about discrimination, that is the discrimination still there? And how do you feel like, expressing yourself to be yourself? Would you like to share some light on it? How it's
Um,
been so far? Mm-hmm.
so I think
Yeah.
as a trans woman,
Mm.
obviously expression as a trans woman can be difficult sometimes for people when they come out.
Mm.
But once you are living life for a longer while, you realize that this isn't what you are actually fighting for. You're not fighting for it because, like, what is the expression? It's what you're showing on the outside, and being transgender woman doesn't mean that you want to show anything on the outside.
Right.
It's you're a woman,
Yeah.
and you're a woman, so same as me. And think of it this way: when you go to grocery shop, probably you don't wear any makeup. Maybe you don't wear a dress. Maybe you just wear some pants or some sweatshirt or something, and no one really cares. And a random person on the street, as they see you, they think a woman. And I don't want anything else than that. I go to my grocery shop. I put my whatever sweatshirt and buy myself bread and butter, and I don't want people to look at me and see anything else than they would when they look at you. And like, just a woman, and I don't want to be expressing anything. I'm not expressing anything. I'm just me. I'm just a girl like you. And I go to shop, and you see me, and you should see a woman. And I don't know what you see, but you should see a woman. And if you interact with me, you're interacting with me with a woman, same as someone would interact with you.
Yeah.
There's no reason for it to be any different. When I was born a woman. It's not my fault that my physical body wasn't really in line with this, let's say, with me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I didn't ask to be treated differently. I didn't ask to be, like, I never asked to be transgender. I never asked to, come out and say to everyone, look, I'm transgender, now I'm different. I don't want that. No one, I don't think there is a single person who's trans who wants that. But there is a lot of trans people who would like to be treated with respect, and it shouldn't be respect any different than you will receive as a woman.
Yeah.
As a woman, I want to be respected in exactly the same way as you are.
Yeah.
And so we do have in our community trans women and trans men, and well, it just so happens that trans men are very way more successful in the transition, in a way that when they transition on hormones, they very often look, very much non-distinguishable from cisgender men.
Okay.
Very many transgender men who I know, I would have trouble distinguishing whether they are trans men, or perhaps I once asked one trans man that, are you looking to transition into a woman?
Right.
And his sister told me, no, he already transitioned. He is a man.
Okay.
So this is how well it works for them. And unfortunately for us trans women, sometimes it works better, sometimes it doesn't work so well. But the bottom line is, it shouldn't be about that. It shouldn't be how we look. It shouldn't be, it shouldn't be that whatever way I look, now it makes me a more valid woman. there's so many women in this world, and not every woman is a pretty blonde that, I don't know, is a model.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Like there's so many different women
Yeah.
that they have different body shapes,
True, true.
and you know,
Mm.
I recently got my nose done because I wanted to be more feminine. But so many women have like big noses or noses that go down, or
Yeah.
women have different faces
Right.
and big brows as well. I had a colleague who had big brows. So why are we so fixed on this?
So may I ask you then, when was the first time then you decided to go for the hormone therapy? How was that whole consulting with the doctor, or that whole that decision look like? Yeah, would you like to share that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's quite interesting one. So basically, I'm 44 now. I started this journey with doctors in 2000, I believe, February 2016. That I think was when it started.
2016.
Yeah,
Okay.
February 2016. And I think I was thinking about it a little bit longer. I have learned about possibilities in medicine to help people like me when I was in my early 20s. And back then, I was just thinking that I'm born in a country where I'm so,
not able to
yeah,
go for it,
I mean,
or
there wouldn't
not
be
supported.
medical care in my country for
Okay.
this, and I wouldn't be able to afford it in my life. So I was thinking that I'm sentenced to just, be in a body that it is, and I will never be able to get what I really need. And I just looked at these girls. Then back then you could see maybe on television or YouTube trans women in Thailand or Philippines that get some medical treatments, and they look great. And I could only dream about it, and I could say to myself, well, at least they are happy, And since then, I spent times thinking about how to get there, but I didn't know. And here in Ireland, I found some people, some friends. There was some nightclub we were meeting, and I learned about it on some occasion, on some party occasion. And someone told me, and we're just meeting there, simply dressing, because that was all we had, dressing up a bit as a woman. And sometimes there was someone who knew more a little bit. And once this person gave me information about TENI in Ireland. So that's the Transgender Equality Network Ireland. That's an association.
Okay.
And I had these meetings every Wednesday, every second Wednesday or so. And I decided to go ahead and see what this is about.
Yeah.
And this is where I learned.
Yeah.
And that, I think, started happening.
Yeah.
That, I think, started happening around 2014, I think, 2014, maybe 15-ish. I'm not sure exactly. I have a blurry memory, because I know that in 15 there was marriage equality referendum, and I know that 2015 May, I think I was already beat out. Maybe not at work, maybe a little bit at home with my back then girlfriend.
Okay.
I informed her, I think I informed her 2014. So yeah, I went on the street in May to promote and advocate to vote for marriage equality, and working with the flares and everything, so giving the leaflets, and so I was like this. But yeah, so that's where my mental state, where I was kind of getting myself more accustomed to the society, because I think that the main problem of coming out and all this transition was, you don't know how to navigate through this. I'm from Poland. From communism, I had no knowledge. I didn't know what to do, how to navigate through this. I just joined this tiny group meetings, and I learned something. But they don't tell you how to navigate. No one knows.
Nobody
Everyone
knows.
does it
Yeah.
their way. And,
Right.
I just started like, the only way you can do it is just, tell the world I'm a woman, and that's it. And, the only way you can do it when you have male body is to dress some women's things and just, so people know that
You're
a woman.
yeah. Yeah.
And in 2018, almost 2 years later, in May, I had my first visit in endocrinologist. But to get to this visit, first in February 2018, I had a assessment. I think it was 3 hours long with a psychiatrist, and this psychiatrist was evaluating if I'm maybe transsexual. This is the word they were using, and he asked me questions and suggested things like, it's very inappropriate of him to say those things. And like, he says, like, I say to him, yes, I am a woman. And he asked me, what do I want to do, medical treatments? And I say to him, I would like to have, hormones, and I would like to have surgery, that, the vaginoplasty. And he says to me, but Sonia, some men prefer like a woman with with a penis.
Okay.
And I'm like looking at him, and I don't know what he's saying to me.
Oh.
It's like I felt like this guy is this guy serious? Is he a real doctor?
Doctor, really? That's
I mean,
crazy.
this was very, very disrespectful and reducing. And how can someone say something like this? I mean, it was so disrespectful.
It is. It sounds like
so disrespectful. So, like, I mean, when he asked me this, I thought I'm in a he's being a serious person, right? And a cultural person, and we have a cultural meeting, and he's asking questions like this. And more questions, sexualized questions, and I just felt like, why is he asking me those questions? And he asked all these questions like directed to my sexual activity, and to like, I don't think these questions had anything to do with the fact that I want to transition, and my sexual activity has it has nothing to do with it. Like show me a cisgender woman like you, for example, like everyone has some sort of sexual activity. And like, we don't judge, like everyone is different, everyone has different preferences, and how is that related to what gender you are? Like, it's ridiculous.
Right. Now, before we wrap up, would you have some final thoughts to share?
Yeah, so I think from our conversation, the most important thing is that, like, as a trans woman, I'm a woman like you, and the important bit is that to understand for others that this is not a play. I'm not expressing myself. I'm not playing like an actor in a role. It's just, I am a woman, and like you, and I would like society to not question this. Society doesn't question you being a woman, so why am I being questioned? Like, right. That's that's what I want. And expression is something that I can wear some clothes that maybe express my femininity, and maybe I can just wear trousers and maybe just jacket and no makeup, and I'm totally the same woman as I am when I dress. Like every other woman. Some women want to dress up for occasion, and some others go to grocery and they don't dress up, and dress down, and that's the same me. And being trans should not be like a thing. I shouldn't have to be any different just because I'm trans.
Yeah.
And the second thing I would like to highlight is the inclusion at workplace. So, the policies at workplaces, the inclusive companies that get accolades and awards for being inclusive. I see it as a lie. I see it as a big lie, because I worked in like 3 companies that would probably call themselves very inclusive. And the reality is that colleagues, or very often it is the leaders, or the manager, architect, or team lead. These people didn't interview me in the first place. I didn't know they would be managing me. And when I joined the team, it was known from the first day that they just don't like me for who I am. And, it would be, illegal for them to say that straight in my face, that they don't like me because company is inclusive and they have policies. So you cannot say you don't like me because I'm transgender. But they would act in ways that, make me feel isolated, make me feel undervalued, make me feel bad, make me feel leave, make me feel like I'm not welcome in there. So this is where inclusion ends. If I'm not feeling welcome in your team, then you're not inclusive. Okay? You have to make me feel welcome.
Right.
And that's how inclusion works. Inclusion, as the word suggests, is including. Include me and not exclude me.
Right.
Your policies are not going to include me. Your people will. And, it is the people. So it's not about having your policies, it's about hiring people who are inclusive.
Yeah.
If you want to be inclusive company, then hire people who are inclusive. Make teams from inclusive people.
True.
Don't make teams from smart and technically skilled people. Make teams from inclusive people in the first place. And, this is how we build inclusion. From people who want to have a person like me in the team, and not people who are forced to have a person like me in the team. And then you invite me for interview and tell me that those people who are not inclusive to interview me, and what do you expect to happen? They will give you feedback. This is their chance to discriminate me. This is their chance to say, she's not skilled enough, because, they cannot say we don't want transgender person in our team. That will be not correct. So what can inclusive company do about it? Well, the only thing you can do about it is to make sure that you don't hire people like this. Hire people who are inclusive in the first place, who will say, okay, we like her, we want her in our team,
Yeah, definitely. That has to change. We talk about inclusion, but we have a lot of work to put towards inclusion, to inclusive society.
Yeah.
Lovely, Sonia. That was a wonderful conversation. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here.